Cowboys. Dak, Dakota reigned Prescott. NFL offseason moves. Does Gronk have a point? Rob Gronkowski, future Hall of Famer tight end, arguably the greatest tight end in the history of the NFL, comes out and made a point or made a statement that the Dallas Cowboys have had the worst offseason ever. Now, I'm not sure if Gronk is aware of some of the offseason moves that Dallas has made, or is he thinking about last year? I don't know, and I'm trying to be respectful here because Gronk is accomplished things on the football field that I have never accomplished and never will. But to say that Dallas has had the worst offseason ever, I'm trying to understand, is he talking about 2024 or is he in 2025? Because I want to show you guys a list of some of the moves that Dallas has made, which I just want to look at just on ESPN's the roster moves. Let's take a look at this. This is just the Dallas Cowboys roster moves that apparently Rob Gronkowski felt that the Cowboys haven't made any moves. So here are some of the moves that, if you can see the screen, I'm trying to make it a little bigger, but it says here that the Dallas Cowboys, this won't go any larger. Dallas Cowboys, if you go back and look at the list, starting if you go back from the off season, I'm going to stop my screen for a second, that he is claiming haven't made any moves. But the Dallas Cowboys signed, not only did they have one of the better drafts at the NFL this offseason in the NFL draft, signing what we believe to be completely impactful players. But according to Rob Gronkowski, Dallas didn't make any moves at all. They've had the worst offseason. So I'm going to go over this list of transactions. Instead of sharing my screen, I'll just go over the list of transactions, which this is the issue that a lot of us, and shout out to some of the Dallas Cowboy, content makers, Attack on Cowboys and some of the other ones, Mike Fisher Report, who's been a Dallas Cowboy expert for years, covering the Cowboys for years and years and years. And there's others, Chat Sports and a few others, Law Nation, that do a pretty good job of talking about the Dallas Cowboys. You got to turn off Bristow, and you got to turn off these other media sources because they tend to not know what they're talking about. For Rob Gronkowski to come out and say the Cowboys have had the worst offseason, if he was saying this last season, it made sense because Dallas, in my opinion, signed no one of note. I mean, they brought back Ezekiel Elliott. They brought in Dalvin Cook for a sip of coffee. They didn't address the wide receiver room. They just brought back Brandon Cooks, who was often injured. They didn't address wide receiver number 2 or really 1B, and so you didn't address that. You had a injured Cowboys football team that lacked explosion. They brought Rico Dowdle, and then they finally figured out between bringing in Zeke and these running backs by committee, they finally decided, hey, we're going to go with Rico Dowdle, who had a very respectable season, and I think he ended up averaging like 4.5 yards a carry or something like that on the season. He ended up signing with Carolina. And so if you look at the running back room, Rob Gronkowski, did Dallas get better? Yes or no? So Dallas brought in to replace Rico Dowdle, Ezekiel Elliott, the ghost of Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Deuce Vaughn, Hunter Lemke is our fullback, The new running back room is led by Javonte Williams, formerly of the Denver Broncos, who is now several seasons removed from his injury. Miles Sanders, who was a Pro Bowler and led the Eagles in rushing back in their 2022 Super Bowl defeat to the Kansas City Chiefs. You drafted an explosive running back by the name of Jaden Blue out of Texas, who can also catch the ball out of the backfield. Had big games against Ohio State and against Clemson, and he had a nice game against Georgia, against prominent top-level competition. The guy's a 4.3 guy, explosive. You also bring in Phil Maffa out of Clemson to be an impactful, short yardage guy that eventually, and shout out to Law Nation who gave them a great name, if Maffa is able to make the team with this running back room being this deep, he called Maffa and Jaden Blue Mafia, which I think is a nice nickname. So, and we haven't even gotten to Hunter Lemke or Deuce Vaughn, who are probably going to be Deuce. I don't know how Deuce makes this team. When you look at the running back room, how many running backs are you going to have? You're not getting rid of the rookie, Blue. That's your future. And most likely Miles Sanders has been playing very well in the OTAs. And then you have Javonte Williams, who right now appears to be running back 1A. So those are your three that's going to make the team. After that, do you bring on Maffa and let him maybe be on the practice squad? You keep Hunter Lemke as a fullback. So they make no room. So there's an improvement right there that Rob Gronkowski apparently doesn't know, because he probably doesn't study well enough to talk about what he's going to talk about. That is a theme that we see a lot on the internet. People are just talking, and they talk without any substance. I see all the time, and it drives me crazy because where's your research? Where have you shown you care about your craft? Today, social media, people just say whatever they want to say. So Rob, running back on Dallas is better. So let me go to the offensive line. They address the offensive line by bringing in a stud, All-American captain, the best guard in the draft, in Tyler Booker. So now you've got the three Tylers, Tyler Booker, Tyler Guyton, who's now gotta jump and improve at left tackle. And then you bring in, and you still have Tyler Smith, the best left guard in football. Then they brought in a steal at edge. They bring in Donovan Easy from Boston College, they didn't expect to get. So now the edge room, in the offseason, they signed Dante Fowler, Mr. 10-sack Dante Fowler, coming from the Washington Commanders. They also signed Peyton Turner, who was the first-round pick for the New Orleans Saints. There's three guys to your edge. They're bringing back injured Sam Williams, who missed all of last season. You got four good, high-level, high-draft value guys that are first, second-round guys and guys that have performed in the NFL at your edge rusher. The offensive line, as I already mentioned, they also signed several guys in the offseason at offensive line to bring in more depth. Robert Jones, for one example. When you hear people say this, they didn't bring in anybody. They're just talking without adding any substance, and it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy because stop being lazy. We expect, if you have a media job, we're not talking about the guys who just troll on the internet. If you have a media job, we are expecting you to do your homework and not just get on here and say something crazy. So that's the offensive line. And I'll forget the other guy's name that they signed. He was a picked him as a starter, I think, with Tennessee. Sadiq, I believe, Hakeem. Guard Hakeem. Adenaje. He was signed. They addressed the backup quarterback. We're getting a big, athletic, powerful arm, Joe Milton, who can throw the ball 80 yards, who is a big upgrade over Cooper Rush from a talent point perspective. This is the worst offseason. You see what we're talking about? This is what we're talking about. They even brought in Paris Campbell, another high-end draft guy that came from the Indianapolis Colts. Maybe a new environment. Maybe he becomes a better player. Oh, and yet we mentioned they had already traded for Jonathan Mingo last season, who now gets to play with Dak, but he didn't play with him last season. And did we not mention the big move? The big move? Did we mention the big move? What's the big move? George Pickens. Rob Gronkowski. They brought in George Pickens, a true number one receiver who now gets to play 1B, not 2. He is a 1B receiver to play with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. And now you move Jalen Tolbert to his more true position, which is wide receiver 3 or even wide receiver 4 if Mingo happens to beat him out at 3. That's an explosive offense with a really good offensive line. You still got Brock Hoffman. You still have Bass. You still have Cooper Beebe. This is a very good offensive line that's young, and if they're healthy, they're going to be special, potentially. Terrence Steele, hopefully he's better at right tackle from what he was before because he was coming off of an injury. Tyler Guyton-Young made some rookie mistakes, but hopefully he can improve. He shows the work ethic to get better. Rob Gronkowski, does Rob have a point? Hell no. He don't have a point because he hasn't done any homework to actually study what the Dallas Cowboys have brought in. And that's where my problem is. The defensive line. Oh, we didn't bring in a big name, but they addressed the big name. Actually, Solomon Thomas is a big name with first top 5 pick, originally with, I believe, with the New York Jets, who now comes in to help bolster that defensive line with backing up Oza Iguduza. Is it? I forgot how to pronounce his name. But backing up Osa Iguduza. Is it Duza? I can't pronounce his name. Anyhow, I'm sorry, Osa. Another stud. So big O. And now you have Solomon Thomas. And you drafted, hopefully, a kid that can really come into the rotation and push Mozzie Smith and Jay Tuua, who had the highest run grade by many draft experts. You also got another offensive lineman in Ajani Cornelius out of Oregon with bringing back Awesome Richards out of Carolina, who's in his second year. They've bolstered places that they didn't talk about. And let's go to the cornerback room. Zaire Elam out of Buffalo, who was another first-round pick out of the University of Florida, is looking like a stud again with maybe a change of scenery playing cornerback. They've moved Deron Bland to the slot a lot right now in the preseason. And hopefully another kid in Shavon Revel, who has also looked like a star, who fell and they got him in the 3rd round. Lamar and Shamar James out of Florida, another young linebacker who shows a lot of promise coming in, has made some plays, some splash plays also in OTAs. And we haven't even talked about the young wide receiver, Trayshawn Holden, the undrafted rookie free agent, who may make the team. It's going to be tough, but you never know. He may make the team because he's made some plays. And this allows the wide receiver room, if you've got CD and George and Jalen Tolbert and Jonathan Mingo, you still got Paris Campbell to consider. You have Trayshawn Holden to consider. Of course, Kavontae Turbin is another receiver who's our special teams ace. That's a very good wide receiver room. Very good. So do I have my druthers? I wish they could have found a defensive tackle to come in and really supplant Mozzie Smith. I just don't like the engine on Mozzie Smith, to be quite honest. I have my issues with the safety room. I don't like Donovan Wilson in coverage at all. He can hit, but he's missing in action when it comes to coverage. I don't believe I'm sorry. I'm just going to say this. if somebody asked Donovan Wilson to put a cover over the bed, I don't know if he could do it. I don't know if he can cover a bed because he's that bad in coverage. And Malik Hooker is lost when it comes to covering over the top. He seems to never be there when in his coverage over the top. Dallas, if you want to improve, and the one thing I would say to agree with Gronkowski, if I was agreeing, we don't take enough and pay enough attention to the safety room. There's a guy right now sitting out there in Justin Simmons, who played at Denver and had a good numbers last year with Atlanta, a free agent that would upgrade that safety room tremendously. But they won't do it because he's probably going to want $10 million. That's the type of stuff Dallas needs to do if we're really, really trying to take the next step. And by the way, I haven't even begun to talk about the improvement on the offensive side of the ball and defense. Offensive coordinator Clayton Adams is a known offensive line guru coach. Him and Junior and these guys that they have. They brought in Junior Adams, another good. I believe he'll be okay. This is his first year as a wide receivers coach. But I am happy with the addition of Clayton Adams and Matt Eberflus, who was the head coach for the Chicago Bears. Their defense was good. And he's a linebacker whisperer. And I didn't even mention Kenneth Murray coming over, who's another first-round talent who has played better than what people give him credit for. He hasn't been the star that you wanted as a first-round pick, but he hasn't been a bust either. And Sanborn may be the guy that nobody talks about, who is a real big addition to that linebacker room that's just got immediately better. And of course, we need Demarion Overshown to come back, who now wears Agent Zero, to come back healthy. If that's the one thing that I could hope for with this Dallas Cowboy team this year, because apparently the media only talks about San Francisco was hurt. The only team that seems to get credited for being hurt last season. Dallas, no. Apparently we didn't have any injuries and finished 7-10, and somehow we don't have a shot of doing anything according to mainstream media. I want to play a quick commercial, guys, so I want to get back to this. That's disrespectful, which is the real theme of this show. But let me play a quick commercial for you guys, and I'll be right back after this.
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
No, it's Super Roth!
Okay, a gimmicky opening for a commercial about Super Roth Universal Life Insurance, but I'm sure it got your attention. Now, what is a Super Roth, you ask? It's a permanent indexed universal life insurance that's totally liquid and easily accessible once it matures. Can be used to supplement retirement savings or a death benefit, or both. Has no income or contribution limit. Has no 5-year rule like Roth IRAs. Has no 10% penalty for accessing the funds before age 59 and a half. Oh, and the average historical returns are 5 to 7% annually, tax-free. Super Roths also lock in gains, which means you don't lose your money when the market is down. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds super? Super Roths are the way of the future, specifically your future. To see if you qualify for a Super Roth, go online to thesuperroth.com.
Now, more than ever, all U.S. veterans need your help. If you have an old car, truck, or van, you can donate it today and help them. And they'll come pick it up for free. Plus, the money raised helps our nation's disabled veterans and their families. Call the number on your screen right now. Within a few days, we'll come and tow it away for free, running or not. And the proceeds greatly help U.S. veterans. So please call right now.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. The days of expensive hearing aids are over. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids. They are powerful, lightweight, and simple to use. And their tiny in-ear design makes them nearly invisible. Plus, they are rechargeable, saving you hundreds of dollars on batteries. Don't be fooled by overpriced hearing aids. Prescription hearing aids could cost $3,000 or more. Nano hearing aids are only $397. But wait, we are so confident you are going to love your Nanos, we are offering $100 off through this special TV offer. Call now and get 2 CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. You get a free portable charging case, free 24/7 lifetime telephone support, free shipping, and a 45-day money-back guarantee.
Call 855-993-2063. That's 855-993-2063.
And we are back. Now let's get into it. I'm going to stop the music right now because I want to get into it. This is backbone. PFF. It's Pro Football Focus is PFF's full name. I would want to use some expletives for the last two of their name. You can put it together. You got it. So Dak Prescott was ranked 17th by PFF in their ranking of quarterbacks, which is absolutely ridiculous. I want to play you guys, and this is coming from what is it? I want to say it's coming from, I don't remember who it's coming from. Let's play. I want to see, where is it? I'm going to play this from courtesy of the facility, fair use. And one of Dak's biggest haters in the media happens to be Shady McCoy, who I don't know what the issue is with those two and why Shady seems to say the things. We know he's an ego homer, but he can be ridiculous. But I don't even know if he agreed with the ratings. Check this out, courtesy of what's the name of the show? Oh, The Facility. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to remember the name of the show. It's called The Facility, and this is real quick, and I go back and add it. This is what they had to say regards to the ranking of Dak Prescott. I thought it was an interesting, unfortunately, some of these ratings. That's why sometimes you can't listen to these people. But check this out.
Real quick. Listen, man. Listen, I heard what they said, but I don't know. Excuse me, number 4. Now, this list, what are we talking about? Actually getting things done? Are we talking about talent? Let's just go through the list. Because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. But you already know they don't even talk the same language. Okay. Joe, wherever you know that's about. Lamar, you know, Josh, come on. Stop playing. Jalen Hurts, all we do is win. Who we got here? Justin Herbert. Now listen. Gets tricky. It's a tricky one. But hold up. Let me get down here. If I said who's more talented? Herbert. Hello. Who? Okay.
We're talking about, again, to go over the list. Let me try this. Let me play it one more time for you guys because you can see it. Technically, sometimes these videos, when you play them, they'll do something funky, but this is the world of the internet and what we do. So I want to show you, continue this video, even with Shady McCoy saying.
Let's take Gino right here. Okay, take him out. Sub him out. Can we go over here? Okay. We know how you feel about 11. Brock Purdy, even though he might be the last pick in the draft and all that, talent, Dak Prescott Come on. Take a seat. Baker Mayfield. We know how you feel about him. He was a bust. And he was lost. Yeah. But now he is found. Oh, he's coming around. CJ, just oh, he's real close. That was how talented and what have you done?
Gotcha.
He's not really talented and he hasn't really done much. So I get what they're saying.
So let's say if it's both.
Talent and what he's done.
Talent and what he's done. You got Geno and Justin Herbert in the top 10 over Dak Prescott. That's not.
Well, hold on, James Jones. Talented and what have you done? So Herbert's a young quarterback, okay?
Let's say it's both.
And he's way more talented than Dak, right?
He's more talented.
You play wide receiver.
He's more talented.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm telling you is, I'm more talented. Let me take the talent to do. It depends what you like. Yeah. I'm not saying
Dak has done more.
I mean, God, James. I mean, God, bro. Really?
Whether we like it or not, Dak has done more.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm telling you, dog.
Okay. The Geno,
has done more,
the Kyler Murray, and Trevor, that's it. The mother dudes, at least you can argue it.
So you hear once again, it comes down to when people say, what do you like? Right? That's not the question. That's not what the PFF ranking is supposed to be about. It's about talent is great. You know how many more guys that are more talented? I can just use NBA, for example. SGA is not more talented than Anthony Edwards, but he's a better player. SGA is not more talented than Josh Smith, or what's the kid out of Houston that is a very athletic guy. Giannis is not more talented than some of his counterparts. He's a hard worker. So when we rate the best players, if you are looking at talent, there's a bunch of guys that are talented. They can dunk, the greatest dunkers in the world. But they're not better players than Joker, Giannis, SGA, Luka, Steph Curry. They're not better players. So when I look at the NFL and you say that these quarterbacks are better, and I don't have the list in front of me because it was just so ridiculous. But number one, okay, I don't have any problem. Patrick Mahomes. Number two, was it Joe Burrow or Josh Allen? I don't remember who it was. Lamar Jackson. And then Joe Burrow, one of those, it was interchangeable. Those are the four guys that we tend to agree with. They throw Justin Herbert at 5 all the time. But Justin Herbert, as Shady alludes to, it's talent. But what has he done? He's never won a single playoff game. And then Shady disrespects Dak and say, well, what is okay. This is the problem with the media. They want you to believe that Dak Prescott is the reason for all of Dallas's losses. That the defense plays no part in it whatsoever. Not only the defense, coaching. When you watch Mike McCarthy's offensive play calling, his schemes, you want to compare that to Andy Reid? What's his name? McVay? You want to make the comparison? There's none. It's Shanahan. It's miles difference. That matters. When you got guys running in the same routes with no concepts behind the routes. The Bucs alluded to this a couple of years back when they knew what Dallas was doing, because the coaching matters. I look at Dak Prescott's performances in the playoffs. They all say, oh, he's been awful. They never bring up the performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that he retired Tom Brady and he had 5 touchdowns. But of course they'll say, oh, the Bucs were bad. You know how many Bucs teams that have won their division that had a bad record that have actually won their playoff game? When the Bucs beat the Eagles weren't a bad team, but they lost. But when the Panthers and other teams that have had a bad record playing at home, they won their first round. So, and a lot of the pundits thought the Bucs would beat the Cowboys that day on that Monday night, where Dak has 5 touchdowns. They never bring it up. They never talk about how well he played against Seattle when they beat Seattle and Russell Wilson. They never talk about how well he played against Green Bay in his rookie season, where he put up, 31 points? And the defense couldn't stop a 3rd and forever. And they managed to get the play where the guy can kick a ridiculously long field goal. They never bring up the fact that against the Los Angeles Rams, the defense gave over 200 yards rushing in a close game. Dak threw for over 300 yards, a touchdown to Amari Cooper, I believe it was. He has a 14 touchdown to 7 interception rating in the playoffs. You look at Lamar Jackson, a 2-time MVP, he's 10-10 and has won 2 games with a better team around him. Better defense, better coaching. Dak has had one guy for the majority of these 12-win seasons that you could go to as the wide receiver. You take CeeDee Lamb away, who are you worried about? Because they don't know how to scheme up or even bring in a guy like Kevontae Turpin enough to where it would scare the defense. This is the problem. When you let people who don't know what they talk about talk, like Shady McCoy, who's an Eagle homer and a constant Dak basher. He doesn't bring these up. Yes, he had a bad game. I'd say twice. He had one bad game against the 49ers, a not so great game the first time, and he had an awful game against Green Bay. Those 3 games, he was bad. But so was his defense, who gave up touchdown after touchdown after touchdown after touchdown on 3 or 4 opening drives. Aaron Jones looked like Gale Sayers, Marcus Allen, LaDainian Tomlinson, Adrian Peterson rolled into one. He's the Cowboy killer every time he plays against him. I guess that's Dak Prescott's fault. This Dak disrespect, the 17th quarterback. So Justin Herbert is over him. Baker Mayfield has had a resurgent career with Tampa. He's not better than Dak Prescott. Brock Purdy fought to get his money, finally got it with San Francisco. We saw what San Francisco was when Brock Purdy was left without the weapons. We see what Dallas is without Dak. They are a losing team. If he's healthy, they are a winning team. This is just facts. We give Matthew Stafford so much credit for that Super Bowl run when the Rams were absolutely loaded. And that's his playoff wins in all the seasons he's been playing. He had 1-0. Jared Goff, Detroit has a great team around him. Well, nobody was running to get Jared Goff. So Dak Prescott, for the haters or whoever, he is a top 10 quarterback. You put him wherever you want. Let me just show you something in which makes this so ridiculous. This was his 2023 season. This has just happened. He finished second in the MVP voting. Has Baker Mayfield ever finished second in MVP voting? Has Brock Purdy, has Matthew Stafford, has Justin Herbert, has Geno Smith, has CJ Stroud. Have any of these guys done this? Jaden Daniels had 1 season. CJ Stroud, 1 season. Trevor Lawrence, Mr. Interception waiting to happen himself. Sunshine. This is what we're talking about. You can't listen to these people because they know when they talk about the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, it gets uninformed, unintelligent trolls to tune in and say, yup, he's trash. But you don't look at coaching, schemes, defense matters. I told somebody this. Patrick Mahomes on his way to a Super Bowl win in 2023, that same season, Patrick Mahomes' defense gave up, I want to say, 20 points before the Super Bowl. I could be wrong on that number, but the most they gave up in the AFC Championship was 10 points. I believe they gave up 7 against the Dolphins. And I believe they gave up against the Bills, I want to say, I think they gave up 21 or 24. So it was a little bit more. But the point was they gave up less points in 3 games than the Cowboys gave up against Green Bay in 1 game. But you want to blame Dak for everything. This is what and Jalen Hurts, look, I like Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts has an absolute stacked roster. Unlike what Shady wants to keep claiming that Dak has had, I just ask you, where is wide receiver number 2? Where is the stop D tackle that Dallas has? Where are the great safeties that Dallas is playing with? They're always out or they don't have them. Jalen Hurts is probably the 4th thing you think about when you go to the Philadelphia Eagles. And he plays well in Super Bowls. In the Super Bowl, he's played well. In the playoffs, he played well in the NFC Championship game. But if you go to those other playoffs, he was pedestrian. He's had a good Super Bowl. And he has, look at this, look at the Philadelphia Eagles, position-wise. What's the best unit on the Eagles? Offensive line. Not Jalen. What's next? Defensive line. What's next? Wide receivers. What's next? Running back. Where does Jalen Hurts come in after that? But he's a better quarterback who has a losing record against Dak Prescott, by the way. So this is the stuff that I'm talking about. Even some of the most notorious Cowboy haters. Let me show you another video before we get out of here. Even some of the most notorious Cowboy hater. Joy Taylor thought it was ridiculous. We're talking about Joy Taylor now. Let's see where I can find it. Crap. Let's see. Listen to what she says.
When has Geno Smith won a playoff game? The answer is never. When did Justin Herbert finish second in MVP voting? What are we talking about? Listen, I'm a certified Cowboys hater, but this is getting absurd. Dak Prescott has had really high level play in this league. He was second in MVP voting 2 years ago. Last year he was hurt. What has Justin Herbert done? Justin Herbert is a very talented young quarterback who has accomplished nothing in this league. From an individual standpoint, he looks great. He has great highlights. He puts up numbers. He has not won anything. Dak Prescott has got to get a little bit more respect. Yeah. Geno Smith.
And I like Geno.
I like Geno too.
And I think he's going to be good for Pete Carroll.
I like everybody. Okay, everyone is wonderful. However, what are we talking about?
But
Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, C.J. Stroud, Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence. What has Trevor Lawrence done?
I don't know that one. Trevor Lawrence and Kyler Murray, though. Seriously.
No, it's absurd. He is at worst 10th, and I would honestly put him at 9th because I'm not putting Justin Herbert in there either.
Ooh.
This is not a serious list.
It's not serious.
This is not a serious list. It's not.
Well, Joy Taylor, even a notorious Cowboy hater, has told you this is not a serious list. And folks, it's not a serious list at all. Let me give you some other Dak Prescott facts as a top 5 quarterback. This is courtesy of TikTok, and I forgot who did the video,
Prescott
but check
ranked
this out.
among the NFL's best QBs over the past 5 years. Let's break it down. Dak threw 130-plus touchdowns since 2020. That's top 5 in the league. Only Mahomes, Allen, and Rodgers have more. He's right behind Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes in production, but ahead of guys like Herbert and Burrow. Injuries cost him time, but when healthy, elite numbers. His 36 TD season in 2023 needs a ring to his legacy. Agree. Drop a love if you agree. Better yet, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you should be following already. I'll see you on.
So now this is AI even having to come to Dak Prescott's sort of rescue. And so, folks, again, this is just awful ranking by PFF, completely disrespectful, and enough is enough. I'm out, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back next week. Check you later.